whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, gavin.grich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel gboot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. Hi, I'm attorney Gavin M. Richard. Check out my latest book, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. For approximately 2 years now, I have gone on a painstaking quest to investigate the rise and fall of an American icon, Bill Cosby. In the mid-1980s, there was not a star that was higher than Cosby. Advertisements with Coca-Cola, Jello, Kodak, along with the #1 television show for 5 straight years in a row. On Thursday nights, it was must-see TV on NBC. Cosby resurrected the genre of the traditional family sitcom that was once thought dead by television critics. He did this as a Black American with an all-Black cast and showed mainstream network executives in white America that it was possible to be successful without showing the worst in people. He also demonstrated the power that television had, as it can make younger people dream to be the best that they can be. However, like many celebrity stars, unfortunately, they all come crashing down, sometimes by their own fault, others not so much. In this book, I attempted to highlight certain things. We go in depth into both of his trials in 2017 and 2018, respectively. What if I told you that these criminal trials were politically motivated by an overzealous district attorney? Will you also be shocked to learn the attacks on Mr. Cosby did not start in 2014, but also in the 90s, not long after his attempted quest to purchase a major network? From where did all of these allegations of sexual misconduct come from? Were the accusers telling the truth? In the 2 years of research, with some help from others interested in learning the truth and facts about this case, we discussed both the legal reasons why his prosecution and trial were illegal, unwarranted, and also the possible personal motives as to why this may have occurred. Most importantly, we warn about the dangers of prejudice and why trial by social media, or mainstream media rather, should never be the norm. All this and more in The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in America. Available on Amazon this fall in Kindle and paperback format. All right, ladies and gentlemen, go to Amazon.com right now. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States is available on Kindle by yours truly, Gavin Richard, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Bill Walpo for doing the cover on this book, and also for our brother who is our guest, Sean James. He helped me edit it. So shout out to those two, ladies and gentlemen. But go to Amazon.com right now. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr. The destruction of due process in the United States is available now as we speak. Go there, order it, and write a review, a very positive review. That always helps, ladies and gentlemen. In the meantime, the place to be, of course, is right here with me. It is Random Topic Thursdays, the hottest live stream on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. And we're always joined by our brother and friend, special guest Sean James, the author of The Man Crisis. We will be discussing the following topics. Monique versus Netflix reaches a mutual conclusion. State Attorney of Illinois has domestic spat with her husband. Biden signs a new executive order for the alphabet community, and many, many more other topics, ladies and gentlemen. Let's bring in Sean James. All right. Started moving some stuff around. What's up, Sean?
I'm good, Gavin. How are you?
I'm doing great, my brother. How are you feeling today?
I'm all right. Just getting moving one laptop to another place so I can stay cool.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, if you want to support the channel, because the channel is not monetized, I ask if you donate to the Cash App, Google Pay, PayPal, and Zelle. Uh, normally I would come on with the music today, but I just wanted to come straight on with stuff. We'll play the music late another time. I don't feel like getting another copyright strike and seeing that in the morning. For playing my own song, but it is what it is at this point. Uh, we have, of course, Sean. You want to do a plug-in right now? Go ahead.
All right. Well, my new comic, John Haynes at Death's Door, is coming to Kickstarter on June 22nd, and we have 41 people signed up for the mailing list. And if you want to sign up for the mailing list, you may do so as well by clicking the link that I'm going to post in the chat in a minute. So I want to get as many people signed up for the mailing list so we can launch on June 22nd and hopefully get this comic book funded, because this is a major moment for SJS Direct. It's a action-packed African American fantasy comic, and I want everybody to come out and pick up this comic.
All right. And speaking of pickup, I want everybody to go right now. Order you some Creole seasoning blend, NawneesCreoleBlends.com. Ladies and gentlemen, try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Nawnees goes great with every dish. You can go to the link right here. I'll put the link in the chat so everyone can go. I also put the link to Amazon where you can go buy the book. But go here or add to the cart. Use some Creole seasoning blends. I know Danielle had ordered some. I will get to all my orders this week. I have been sick over the past week, and so, ladies and gentlemen, uh, I'll just come out and say it: the woo woo finally got me. So I was busy with that, and that is what really nailed me down for the past couple of weeks. But uh, take care of yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Gavin is doing fine. I'm doing much better than what I was. So I'm grateful that I'm here with you all. And I still have my taste. If I didn't have my taste, I'd rather die, Sean, because I'm in New
Yeah,
Orleans. I'm in New Orleans, man. All the food that I have here, uh, that we have here, if I wouldn't be able to taste them, my life would mean nothing.
yeah. All the food, you got to have flavor.
Yes.
And I'll say this, as somebody who has used Nani's Creole blends, it makes the best turkey burger in the world.
There you go. That is a hell of an endorsement for turkey burgers. I don't have a turkey rhyme yet, but we don't like. I made up one for roast. Uh, we don't like to boast, but Narnis goes great with even roast. Of course, try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Narnis goes great with every dish. I got one on salads. Even try Narnis on salads. It goes down good. It's fit for your palate. So, yeah. So yeah, thank you all. We're gonna go ahead and get started now. This is something serious I want to talk about. Y'all still subscribe to the at Commonwealth Cause on Facebook if you can, ladies and gentlemen. But I got to talk about this, Sean, because this made me man. Now this wasn't even one of the topics I was gonna get into, but I think everybody should see this. Have you seen this video on Twitter right now, ladies and you guys probably have, but I was looking at this. This came from Princess 127, and it's gotten already 3.3 million views. I'm gonna remind it for everybody.
Burn it up.
I'm gonna put it on, blow it up. But these I'm gonna just call it what it is. Suspected white supremacists out in Sanford, Florida, the same Sanford, Florida, where Trayvon Martin was killed, threw a large stone at this brother's car, this young man's car, for apparently or allegedly speeding through their neighborhood and burning out their tires. Now, his tires. Now,
Burn it up. Right here, brother. Right here. Tell me what you're doing. Burning out racing through my fucking neighborhood. Burning out racing through my fucking neighborhood. I told you not to. I'm not in your face. Get out of my neighborhood, fuckwad.
Who got the gun? Who got the gun?
The guy who's got a permit to carry it.
You got a gun?
You're the one that would get a gun.
All right.
Get out of this neighborhood.
All right.
Get out of this neighborhood. You don't belong here.
But y'all want to smash fucking window? Smash the window?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
You smashed the window, huh?
Well, y'all drive like idiots.
the nerve of these fuckers.
Burning out.
The nerve of these motherfuckers.
Right here, brother. Right here. Tell me.
So what happened? I guess the young man, the father's name is C.J. Jones, and apparently this is his car. This was the damage that was done to it. You see that large piece of stone that they threw inside the vehicle. His left driver's side, rear driver's side window was completely smashed. And these two pricks were eventually arrested. Donald Corsi, they was charged with damage to property, criminal mischief of $1,000 or more, weapon offense, missile into dwelling, vehicle, building, or aircraft. This other piece of shit, Howard Hughes, damage to property, criminal mischief, battery to touch or strike. Now, I was going at it, and this whole here. I'm not gonna mince my words, Sean. If this is her, they said they identified her. She's the woman that said, "You don't belong here. Get out of this neighborhood."
Burning out racing through my fuck. Burning out racing through my fuck.
So I didn't see now. So allegedly, it is alleged that he sped through the neighborhood, whatever it was, and there was a video of it. But be that as it may, even if there were a video that's if he even sped through the neighborhood, let's say he did. And I'm going back and forth with this troll. They're trying to talk about this video here. I don't even know if it is. Now you see this troll?
Yeah, I see him.
Trying to go back and forth. He's endangering children. What children did you see in that video? There were none. And on top of that, even if there were, that's a matter for the police to handle. You're not a cop. But this is what these white supremacists do. They're the big, and I don't know if the brother was, it looked like the kid was alone, but this was a 16-year-old. And this was out in Sanford, Florida, the same city where Trayvon Martin was from. Look at that. You don't belong here. Who are these people? They tried to throw a brick at this kid's head. That justifies what he did, what you did. Even if you were speeding, that is not an excuse for what you did. You have a problem, call the police. Get the license plate number if he did something illegal. Speeding doesn't warrant this.
Go ahead and say something, Sean, because I'm pissed to high heaven. I saw that.
I'm extremely disgusted by what I'm seeing here because it shows me how these white supremacists believe that they are above the law. Now, this whole incident, like you said, could easily have been handled by law enforcement, but when it comes down to these white supremacists, they believe that they are above the law and they believe that they can go out here and impose their will on people. And that's what happened here with this racist group of people. They wanted to send a message to this young black man not to come back to their neighborhood. So they wanted to go out here and send a message to terrorize this black man that if you come back to this neighborhood, we're not only going to destroy your car, we're going to kill you. And that's the message that they were sending with this act of terrorism. And we have to start calling these acts of terrorism that they actually are. I mean, when it comes down to these racists, we can't mince words about their behavior. We have to send a message saying, hey, you're participating in acts of terrorism because the whole act here is meant to terrorize this young black teenager and send a message to him not to drive through their neighborhood once more. It's not about speeding car. It's about a black man in a nice car in their neighborhood because in their smooth world, the only black people they want to see are walking barefoot on the streets, being poor and downtrodden. That's what makes these racists comfortable. They don't like the idea of seeing a young black man driving a nice vehicle. And again, it was not about the speeding because this guy could be following all the laws and they'd be out here looking to attack him for no reason. These these urban terrorists, as they are, they want to go out here and make the world the way they want it to be. And what upsets them is seeing black people out here living very well and doing very well. That's what disrupts their rose colored reality and makes them act out this way. And we have to call these racists what they are, these white supremacists what they are, and call them the terrorists that they are. And that's part of how we deal with these kind of white supremacists. The other thing is we have to go out here, in addition to going out here and calling them the terrorists they are, we also have to put go out here and ensure that we get justice through the criminal justice system. Because what your white supremacists like to do is they like to minimize the terrorist behaviors of individuals like this. And we're seeing more and more of this behavior because many of these individuals they feel emboldened by things like the Zimmerman verdict, things like the
Already.
um, verdicts of many other young black men who have been never gotten justice, and they see things like the whole January 6th incident, and they think, "Oh, I can just go out here and do whatever I want. They can go out here and be the law." But these people don't want law. No, they don't want justice. They want to terrorize people because people are just are shattering their reality. And the whole thing is, these people are just again, they're really twisted. They're really warped and what they want to do is see black people broken and damaged because that's how damaged they are on the inside about themselves. These are some sick and twisted people, and we need to make sure that they're punished to the full extent of the law.
Yeah.
And we have to send a message as related to that, as related to these people, and dealing with them.
And what pisses me off is the fact you have these assholes these assholes, they think they know they think they're the police. They think they can do whatever the hell they want. They come out there out of their homes. If you're that frustrated with people racing through your neighborhood, do what my neighborhood association did. Put fucking speed bumps on your streets.
Yeah.
Don't do that if you have a problem with it. But don't, by no means, do not take the law in your own hands. And it's not even a matter of taking the law in your own hands. They are entitled, they're emboldened. This was vigilantism.
Yeah.
It was not even the law. A
Has
cop
nothing to do with the law.
and giving him a ticket for speeding if it was the case. You threw a stone into his car trying to hit him in the head. And if that had killed him, if that had struck him and killed him, you could have had another tragedy because the car veers off. Let's say the car could crash into somebody's house.
But these people don't think, they're all emotion, because what happens with many of these white supremacists is they live in what I call the rose-colored reality, and they're all about their feelings because they want to have their world smooth. They want everything to be in its place. And when they see somebody disrupting their smooth world, they get emotional, they act impulsively, and then they don't think about the consequences of their actions. All they want to do is hurt that black person who disrupted their white world. And what happens is they're not thinking, oh, if I hit this boy and I kill him and the car veers off, it could do serious damage. And some of these guys, their minds are so messed up, they'll sit there and justify what happened, saying, oh, that was just something that had to happen. Because you have to understand, this white supremacist mind is completely twisted. I mean, these people, they're a special kind of insane, as I see it. I mean, just they live in their own world. They will justify violence just for the sake of it. And that's what makes them really sick, twisted individuals. They want the world to be the way they want it to be. And that's what makes them so sick. Because again, this was not about going out here
Two
and
old men are
saying
now
he
facing
broke the
criminal
law.
charges.
This was about him going out here and wanting to just hurt someone because they disrupted their idea of their world by just coming in here and driving while black.
With a traffic cone. Watch who's
Let's
Amanda
look at
Dukes
this.
has more on the confrontation and why one of the men is accused of throwing a rock through their car window. The other allegedly dented the vehicle with a traffic cone. Watch who's Amanda Dukes has more on the confrontation and why one of the victim's parents believes this was racially motivated.
Someone put that
52-year-old
copyright
Donald
disclaimer up for
Corsi
me,
and
please.
61-year-old Howard
it, never mind.
Hughes face criminal charges
Fair
after
use.
deputies say they attacked two teenage boys who were driving through their Lake Forest neighborhood in Sanford Tuesday night.
Right here, buddy. Right here. Tell me what you were doing.
This cell phone video of the confrontation was recorded by 16-year-old Jermaine Jones, who had been driving the white Mercedes. He had a 15-year-old passenger, and according to the teens, they were headed to a friend's house to spend the night when the two men yelled at them for speeding. After the teens turned the car around to leave the area, they say the men forced them to stop and attacked.
Burning out racing through my neighborhood. Burning out racing through my neighborhood. Not to. I'm not in your face. Get out of my neighborhood.
The teens say the men dented their car with a traffic cone and threw a rock through the back window. The arrest affidavit also says Hughes used the cone to hit one of the teens in the stomach. Jones's parents told West 2 News over the phone, while their son admits he was speeding, the men had no right to attack.
They could have simply called the police. They could have done anything, but the audacity of them to think that they could just do what they wanted to do because it's their neighborhood, is what they said. Get out of my neighborhood.
Jones's parents have obtained an attorney and want the men to face more serious charges.
I personally was appalled and disgusted. I cannot believe that in 2022 that grown men would treat a child this way. I really couldn't believe it. And this was all because of the color of his skin.
In Seminole County, Amanda Dukes reporting, West 2 News.
Both men face charges of damaging property. Howard Hughes also faces a charge of battery. They have since bonded out of jail. Western News attempted to reach both of them, but we have not received
He could
a
have been charged
response.
with a hate crime, as far as I'm concerned. That was a hate crime.
Yep. And that's more of a reason why we need an anti-black hate crime bill.
No, but President Biden hasn't signed that yet, but he has signed this, and we can go to this topic now. But I hope that whoever their attorney is not Ben Crump. I'm just curious. And he gets all of them. I want some local people. I hope they get local attorneys, some people that are hungry, you know?
Yep.
But this went viral. I'm just glad the kids are alive and okay. Yeah, they were speeding, but that doesn't justify what these assholes did. They went beyond the scope of anything reasonable. Well beyond. So we have Joe Biden, who signs an executive order protecting trans teenagers. Now, this is the month of June. This is what they call Pride Month. You can see the president is signing this executive order, and behind him is the LGBTQ flag. And you see the hyena, the laughing hyenas right there. Mrs. Doubtfire is back there. But Joe Biden has signed an executive order aimed at curbing discrimination against transgender youth and drying up federal funding for the discredited practice of conversion therapy. Biden's executive order, which comes during Pride Month, asks the federal health and education departments to expand access to gender affirming medical care and find new ways to counter a flurry of bills passed in U.S. states by conservative lawmakers this year that ban these treatments for transgender youth. Wednesday's order asks federal agencies to ensure that federally funded programs do not offer conversion therapy, which tries to force LGBTQ youth to change their sexual orientation, and an FTC to consider, which is the Federal Trade Commission, to consider such practices that seek to change a patient's sexual orientation or gender identity as deceptive businesses. Let's go to the video right quick, shall we?
Right now, there are young people sitting in their bedroom, doors closed, silent, scrolling through social media, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they'll ever be loved, ever marry. My message to all the young people, just be you. You are loved. You are heard. You are understood. You do belong. And I want you to know that as your president, all of us on this stage have your back.
I'm fighting for the next little Javier, so he doesn't have to cry himself to sleep every night, aching that he wakes up normal. To all the supportive parents, youth activists, teachers, and allies, I am proud to stand here today with you and with a true leader. A leader who is not just speaking up for us, but standing up for us with action against these extreme attacks. While the governor of my state has turned his back on young LGBTQ+ people and our families, I'm proud to stand here today with a leader who does have our back.
Today, I'm about to sign an executive order that directs key federal agencies to protect our communities from those hateful attacks and advance equality for families. No one knows better than the people in this room. We have a lot more work to do. A lot more work to do. I don't have to tell you about the ultra MAGA agenda attacking families and our freedoms. 300 discriminatory bills introduced in states across this country. In Texas, knocking on front doors to harass and investigate parents who are raising transgender children. In Florida, going after Mickey Mouse, for God's sake. That strike goes to home. Now, but think about this. All of you in this room know better than anyone that these attacks are real and consequential for real families.
Yeah, there is an attack on the family. You're attacking straight families, heterosexual families. We're bombarded. And look, people can do whatever they want in their living rooms and their homes. That's their business. But they have been attacking straight people for a while, trying to bombard them with accepting someone's lifestyle. And you're talking about children. Yes, if you're a child can't determine whether they're a boy or girl at that age. This is the same president who said it was okay for a 6-year-old to undergo sex therapy when he was running for president. He said this at a town hall meeting. But I didn't come here to talk about that. I want to point out, when you see all of this stuff, if the administration, the Biden administration, wants to protect certain groups of people, just last week, Sean, they passed an executive order to the New Mexicans, giving them reparations. It wasn't an executive order, but they passed a bill giving them reparations as a result of nuclear downwinding. What happened with that when they were doing the nuclear testing in the deserts, and eventually the effects of that spread to towns and states in New Mexico and Nevada and Arizona, people getting cancer and so forth. They were quick and able to do something like that. They're quick and able to pass an executive order for a population that's not even 4% of the population. LGBTQ makes up at least 3% of the United States population. Actually, and transgenders, by the stats that I've seen, it's not even 1%. And yet, this group is the number one minority in the country. It is the single-handed most civil rights issue in the United States. You feel free to talk and jump in whenever, Sean.
Well, that makes no logical sense. What's really sad here is that black voters came out in the largest numbers in 2020 to vote for Joker Joe, and he can't seem to give us a single tangible at all. I mean, black people, like we just saw in the story we just discussed earlier, are being terrorized by white supremacists, and we can't get an anti-black hate law in place to punish these white supremacists. We can't seem to get any sort of real police reform. I mean, black people were told that we were needed to go vote to stop the evil orange man, but we seem to can't get any tangibles out of a president who told us to our face in 2020 he can't do anything for us. Meanwhile, groups that basically have been are smaller demographics that who probably didn't even vote for Joker Joe, they're getting tangibles, and this group is getting a huge amount of tangibles in exchange for a small amount of votes. And I don't even think they all voted for him, because in the case of the Asians, they voted for Trump in large numbers. And I don't know about this group, but the whole thing is that everybody, including non-citizens, can get a tangible from Joker Joe and his administration. But black people, all we get are empty symbolic gestures, silly things that are just thrown at us in a paternalistic way, and no serious tangibles or serious policies meant to help one of the largest voting blocs in America. I mean, that's an insult. And that's why Joker Joe is losing so much support right now, because most black people are saying, hey, we vote for you, but everybody else gets tangibles. They all get in under this minority umbrella where they can get all the benefits from the black vote, but the black voter can't get any tangibles for their vote. And that's an insult, because it's black people who need an anti-black hate law in the aftermath of the Tops mass shooting. It's black people who deserve an anti-black hate law based on what we saw happen in Florida. And black people deserve more tangibles to empower their communities, because we are citizens of this country. We are the ones paying taxes in this country. But people who don't pay taxes, people who aren't citizens, people who did not vote blue, they're getting all of the rewards. And that's an insult and a slap in the face to the black voter, because the black voter is supposed to be valued, but it seems like you're only valued to be used for your vote to watch other people get tangibles. And that's why we have to start walking away from this blue party and start creating our own platform for our own agenda, pick our own candidates, and get our own tangibles, because it seems like your Joker Joe continues to express his contempt for the black voter, and he continues to express his contempt for black people by putting us last, but then demanding we put him first. Well, sorry, it doesn't work that way. You can't put me last and then tell me to put you first, because this is not how a business relationship works. An interdependent business relationship works where you give me things in exchange for whatever you're asking for. And if we can't get tangibles for a vote, then we need to break away from this codependent and dysfunctional relationship, because we're not getting anything out of this business relationship at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Politics is all about business, and unfortunately, with us, we don't do. It seems like the black community never does business. They actually we're voting on emotion.
Yeah,
everything is about emotions and stuff. Every other party, every other group that I've seen, they don't vote like that. They vote based off what this person can do for me, and if they cannot do anything for me, I'm not going to support them. I don't think a Jewish, just like if there were, let's not forget back when Al Gore was running for president, Sean, Joe Lieberman was the vice president. I believe he was going to be, if elected, the first Jewish vice president in American history. Well, I don't believe that the Jewish community and I voted for Joe Lieberman or voted for Al Gore, thinking we want to see a Jew in the White House. We got Jews in plenty of other high places. Question is, what are you going to do for our community? What is it you base on? And, you know, they vote, a lot of them, there are some who vote liberal, but there are also a lot of them who are very conservative, especially Orthodox Judaism. You know, believe it or not, a couple of years ago, when they were trying to force the schools to teach this agenda, there were some Orthodox rabbis who actually came out on the steps of the Supreme Courts in their town halls, and they said, absolutely not. We're not teaching homosexuality in the school, in our schools, in our community. Same thing with Muslims. Muslims don't do it. And they wouldn't dare try to push that on to them because they know there's a consequence with certain groups. They react in a certain way than, let's say, a Christian would, right, Sean?
Yeah.
You don't see that. It's just like, remember when you had all of these companies that were boycotting North Carolina over the bathroom bills? The NBA moved the All-Star game out of their state as a result of it. Well, the same Fortune 500 companies that were protesting that, they were doing business and still business in Saudi Arabia, where they will actually kill people for being gay. They'll throw people off buildings. They still do that. They stone people with that. Coca-Cola didn't pull out of Saudi Arabia, hasn't done it. They haven't pulled out of PayPal hasn't pulled out of there. The oil companies, they're not going to pull out of there. They know not to mess with those people.
Because those people set hard boundaries for how they will be treated.
Right. I mean, in sexuality in general, how women are supposed to dress. Modesty. There's stuff they don't tolerate. They set boundaries. We don't in America. And it's not even the fact that he signed this executive order. It's not a surprise to me because remember in his first day, he signed an executive order, but we have black people who are arguing and fighting for something, and Joe Biden is not doing it. And you saw all of his cabinet, you saw all of his members behind him supporting this, yet he says he can't do anything for black people. If it's talked about reparations, it depends on how much it is and if Native Americans are included. No, Native Americans already got stuff.
Everybody got stuff but black people.
$5 Indians got stuff. They have executive orders. They have casinos. They have reservations. They have monies. You know, they talk about the fact that, well, I shouldn't pay for slavery. Well, you're paying for the Trail of Tears to this day. Remember the Trail of Tears, Andrew Jackson?
Yep.
Native Americans still get reparations from that. They still get money. So don't tell me it can't be possible, because it's obvious you can do it. And we're wasting our time too with these hearings that they have on the federal right now over this January 6th committee. What happened on January 6th? We already know what happened on January 6th.
It's just a desperate ploy to get people to see Republicans as the bad guy.
It's like I told my parents, they asked, so Gavin, nothing can be done? I don't know about it. Well, I don't know how you impeach somebody who's not in the White House. This type of hearing is just what it is. It's a hearing. It's not a trial. They have no power to sentence Donald Trump. They have no power to arrest him. Well, he lied about this. Well, he wasn't under oath when he lied. People lie. I'm not condoning it. People lie all the time. But if they commit perjury, that means you're actually sworn in and you made perjury. If you're talking about inciting a riot and felony, well, then go ahead and file the charges if the Washington D.C. police could do that. And they haven't, because they know it's a hard battle to do. So he can't be impeached. He's been impeached twice. He's the only president to be impeached twice. He has not, and it failed. The Senate didn't vote to fully impeach him from office. He's not in the White House anymore. What's the purpose of all of this? There are over 20 million people that watched the first episode of that. The first day this aired last week, Sean.
Yeah.
He can't be, and that's really what it's about. It's about ratings. It's about television. You look at how they phrase it, the attack on democracy, CNN. That's the actual title on CNN. It's a distraction. That's all it is, Darius. You're absolutely right. Orange man, we need a boogeyman. The elections are coming up in November. We have the primaries that happen this week. Marcel Dixon, who's also who's LGBTQ, who's gay. I'm just saying it's gay. I mean, we're using these acronyms too. You look at the flags that they have. They got some LGBT, like Judge Joe Brown said. They have some gay people who don't like the LGBTQ community. They don't like the agenda. They have some who don't care for it. I was reading years ago, Dolce and Gabbana, who are gay, the people who own the cologne company, they were actually opposed to gay marriage and gay adoptions. They said a boy or girl, when they grow up, they need their mother and father. These are two gay men who said this. I thought that was interesting. That was just about 7 years ago. They made that statement. I remember reading it. But I'm more upset at our government. And you look at this, just look at all who they invite, who's there. The one that looks like Harry Carey in the back right there, that's actually the Secretary of Health. That's she's the head of the HHS. That's transgender. That's Biden's pick. That's a man. That's now identifies as a female. You know that?
Yeah, I know. Looks like Arkham Asylum.
Nah, Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Asylum from the Batman comics.
That's the assistant health secretary. I thought it was Bruce Valanche at first. Oh, I say he looked like Penguin. Really? Cobblepot? My name is not Oswald. It is Penguin. That's funny, huh? And Sean's not saying nothing.
Well, he is kind of looking cracked. But the whole thing's a Biden presidency. It's like Arkham Asylum. It's like the inmates are running the country.
No, so he really looks like Oswald. Danny DeVito. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Yeah. Let's look at it. Yeah. Okay, I can see it. I see it now.
Yeah. Looks just like the Penguin.
You don't think you can win, do you? And what did Batman tell Penguin, Sean?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
Things change. Joe, you got Joker, Joe, and Penguin all in there. So who would Kamala be?
I think she's Poison Ivy.
Damn sure ain't Catwoman.
Nope.
All right, hit that like shit button. Joker Joe and the Penguin and the White. Yeah. Well, who's Batman?
Well, that's to be determined. I mean, we don't have a Batman right now. If we had a Batman, we wouldn't have Joker Joe.
Yeah. Someone said he never watched Batman Returns. Oh hell, man, that was a good one. Although it was darker, I was upset that Michael Keaton never got to be. Oh, Danielle said Kamala is Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's sexy. Harley Quinn is sexy, Putin. Let's go ahead. I want to talk about this. Did you hear about this one, Sean? Monique versus Netflix. They reached a settlement. Ladies and gentlemen, Monique got the bag. So what happened today, it was announced that Netflix and Monique reportedly reached a settlement in regards to her lawsuit alleging racial bias and gender discrimination. According to reports, the matter has been, quote, amicably resolved, according to Monique's attorney, Michael Parks. He told the Hollywood Reporter that it was resolved and that there have been no exact terms as to the settlement. We don't know how much she received, but Netflix didn't respond for a comment, and law firm representing his company declined. Netflix lawsuit said Monique's lawsuit against Netflix. I will just show this here. This is courtesy of NBC News. Apparently, they offered her $500,000 in 2018 for a comedy special, and she refused to negotiate further. Her suit said that it reflected a company tendency to underpay Black women. In contrast, the suit claimed Netflix was willing to negotiate with other comics who made deals reportedly worth tens of millions of dollars for comedy specials from Chris Rock, Ellen DeGeneres, Dave Chappelle, and Ricky Gervais. Netflix has said, we care deeply about inclusion, equity, and diversity, and take any accusations of discrimination very seriously. We believe our opening offer to Monique was fair, which is why we will be fighting this lawsuit. Well, they didn't want to fight no more. Monique alleged that Netflix violated California's fair employment and civil rights laws and is representative of the major pay inequity in all employment for Black women. She said, quote, I had a choice to make. I could accept what I felt was pay discrimination, or I could stand up for those who came before me and those who would come after me. I chose to stand up. Sean, what did you think of Monique's stance against Netflix? Did she come away a winner in your book?
I believe Monique did come out a winner in my book because your Monique stood her ground against Netflix, and it's clear that Netflix was not doing her right. And your Netflix basically wanted to throw in the towel as related to the lawsuit because they were already looking optically bad due to all of the issues Netflix has been having over the last couple of months or so, with their stock price declining, with people unsubscribing from the platform. And they looked to try to settle this lawsuit because it was one of the big problems as related to them in the short term as related to costs. So they probably said, okay, we're already having all these troubles. Let's just settle this issue with Monique, give her a settlement, and send her on her way because we've already got a lot of big problems at Netflix as related to the complete collapse of their animation division, the complete loss of their subscriber base due to the high prices and the terrible content. So they were looking to try to get out of a situation that was already bad, and they already knew that they did Monique very bad. I mean, your Monique was not really compensated fairly when you compare it to Dave Chappelle and you compare it to other comedians. I mean, Monique was not getting the multi-million-dollar paydays that Dave Chappelle and other comedians have received on the platform.
Yeah.
And she was an Oscar-winning actress and a big draw.
Well, let me say, in regards to that, on the flip side of that too, Sean, Monique, yes, was an Oscar winner, but question is, Netflix, as like any other streaming employer, they have a right to pay people. I'm just playing devil's advocate for what they believe they're worth. I mean, Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, are running hot streaks at this time. And Monique, I'm not saying that obviously she wasn't performing stand-up comedy. She was, apparently. She actually did sold out shows. But did she pull in the numbers that Amy Schumer could have made? And Amy Schumer, I know, is not funny, but Amy Schumer also has the backing of Chris Rock. Amy Schumer also has the backing of multiple people. But do you think she should have got? She should have. No, they should have paid her in equity with Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock.
I believe they should have paid her in equity with Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock. I mean, she is a very good draw, and I believe she would have drawn very well if they had given her that fair compensation. I mean, if Amy Schumer, who is mediocre, can get this kind of money, then Monique should be able to get that kind of money because Monique is a little bit better than Amy Schumer. And I believe if they had given her a platform on Netflix and allowed her to grow, she could have been just as big as Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle.
You don't follow stand-up comedy, do you, bro?
Not that much. I mean, I haven't followed a lot of entertainment because it's been so bad. So, but I know that there's possibilities for people to draw if they're given a
Sean,
proper.
come in camera a little bit, if you can.
All right, let's see what.
Because you have. Let me see. Hold on. Let me do that. That's better. Okay. Yeah, that's better. I just changed the layout. Well, let me say this to you. I certainly think that Monique, yeah, she's better, well, way better than Amy Schumer in my book. But now, me personally, Monique is not someone I also rush to see. Like, I've never really seen, I've seen Monique stand up, but I can't tell you Monique's best joke that I like. Now, having said all of that, that doesn't mean that I don't think the sister shouldn't be paid. I think if she wants to get money and she's obviously has earned it with her work and so forth, go get what you're worth. If Netflix doesn't want to pay you, you can count, obviously if they give you an offer that's low, of course you counter offer, which is what you do in negotiations and contract. You have your attorneys that will negotiate for you and they will set a price. And if they don't do that, you can go to another venue. You can go to Showtime and put your show on, or HBO, or whoever, or you can talk to them. But I certainly think if Netflix, and it seems like there may have been some stuff going on, because I believe there was a memo, if I'm not mistaken, some emails leaked out about how Netflix treated Black employees a while back. So I think there was some merit to what she's saying. So do I think she should have gotten a $70 million deal like Dave Chappelle? Probably not. No. I think that, yes, it should have been more than what they offered her. Certainly when you look at, comedians I see today, the people getting their deals, these are guys I never heard of before. Gerard Carmichael was just talking shit about Dave Chappelle because of the trans jokes that Dave Chappelle makes. You ain't never heard of Gerard Carmichael before. I know of Gerard Carmichael because he had that show that lasted like 3 seasons on NBC. I'm like, how the fuck he got a show? But it gives me strength to know that it's possible. Now, Cat Williams got a Netflix special. I heard it wasn't, some people have said it wasn't all that. I haven't looked at it. But point being, with some people, and it's the same thing with business, with comedy, and I've learned this as well being a comedian, it's not about being funny, it's about who you know too.
Yeah, because you have the right connections, they can get you opportunities.
You get opportunities, absolutely. If you're friends and buddy with people, I know comedy clubs. I've been in comedy clubs and so forth where they have cliques, just like you saw in WWF, the wrestlers that bury the other wrestlers' career and ran everything. That's like that in comedy too. You know the people who run it. You're friends and buddy with them. You make this, and you can do stuff. You draw in your crowd. You make suggestions and can get stuff done. And that's the same thing with comedy. I was always a loner. Always have been. I have people who I was cool with, but I never ran with a clique. And I, as much as I put out my stuff and try and promote things, I've had some people that say they'll come out and support, some people that'll come out and support me. I'm happy with it, although, yeah, do I wish I could go a little bit further? Yes. And it takes hard work to do that. You still got to be funny and deliver. Somebody mentioned Seinfeld. Seinfeld be bombing a lot from what I hear. Bombing always happens, but Seinfeld, a lot of people here don't feel Seinfeld was funny. Never was. That show he had, Larry David created that. And that stuff was funny. Some of it was funny to me. But you asked the average brother, Sean, which show you think they think is funnier, Seinfeld or Martin?
Martin, 100 hands down.
Martin, absolutely. We watched Martin. We supported Martin. Martin, by the way, they got their they have their reunion specialist on BET Plus. I haven't watched it, but I thought Martin didn't really get the respect by Fox when it was on there, and it attracted a large following, a large audience every night. Even when they made their 100th episode, Fox didn't even give them any recognition. And Martin Lawrence had to go into the executive offices and give him a piece of his mind. And look, they did the same thing with Married with Children. They didn't get a final episode or anything like that where they were sent off properly. And they were the first sitcom on Fox when Fox was fledgling.
Yeah, they didn't do them right.
They don't do them right. Yeah,
but that's a pattern with Fox. Fox always treats the shows that actually saved their network or kept their network going. They always trashed them.
Yeah, look what they did with A Living Color. I think A Living Color should still be on the air. Myself personally.
Yeah.
Living Color was 10 times better than Saturday Night Live. Living Color.
Speech, Oswald.
My name is not Oswald.
What's that?
It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal.
You heard that?
Yep.
What was that?
That was the Penguin. Danny DeVito.
That was the press. That was the HHS secretary. That was her. Him. She.
Whatever it was.
I'm gonna be respectful. Rachel Levine. Admiral Rachel Levine. Yeah, that's the that's funny.
My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal. Cold-blooded. Crank the AC.
I'm like, get sick again. It's the Penguin. It's Cobblepot. Oh, great speech, Cobblepot. Fire that Cobblepot. That's Penguin. Hit that like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Get some water. What the hell, Darius? Y'all gonna get me kicked off YouTube now. I ain't gonna keep going back and forth. He does look like Penguin.
My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal. Cold-blooded. Crank the AC.
That's funny. That's comedy. Huh? All right. Let's go on. Let's move on, please. So this happened. There apparently was a disturbance a few days ago over at the Foxx household. Now, those of you who know Kim Foxx, she is the state attorney of Illinois. She was
Phil and his twin over there, both very into.
I remember Kim Foxx coming out a couple of years ago when that Surviving R. Kelly docuseries came out and telling anyone who was a victim of R. Kelly to come forward, right? Remember when she did that press conference? So this time, 911 was called on Kim Foxx for allegedly striking her husband, Kelly Foxx, at their home over a Facebook post. Now, I'm going to go ahead and play the video so everybody could see. So please put the copyright disclaimer up for me.
One call from Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx's house.
CBS 2.
Fair use. Let me just do that. Let me play this video and I'm going to run right back.
Obtained the call from the night Kim Foxx's husband accused her of slapping him.
CBS 2's Jermont Terry has been working this story from the beginning, and he's live now from the control room. Jermont?
Joe and Erica, tonight we get to hear the tone and concern Kelly Foxx had on the night he called 911 on the Cook County State's Attorney. Now, CBS 2 requested all dispatch and 911 calls from that night, yet most of what was released to us, including the police audio, was redacted. Yet you will get to hear for yourself that call for help. 10 p.m. Saturday, June 4th, Kelly Foxx dialed 911 on Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx.
What's going on there?
I don't have to get you.
Okay, is it you or someone else?
My wife and I.
Okay. Is it physical or just verbal?
Physical.
Kelly Foxx told dispatchers his wife was physical, and in the police report, he told officers, "She can't come in my personal space and put her hands on me." Listen as the dispatcher tries to figure out how physical things have become between the two.
Is anybody injured?
No, not yet.
Okay, any weapons?
Don't touch me.
Get out. Are there any weapons in the house?
No.
Okay, anybody been drinking tonight?
No.
Are you guys outside or inside?
We're outside. There's a car phone in there.
You said you see the police?
I do.
We know when Flossmoor police arrived, Kelly Foxx told officers the state's attorney slapped him on his left cheek. The report shows officers did not observe any indicators to support his claim and no redness or swelling visible on his face. Flossmoor police had body cameras from that night, but denied the release of the video, claiming privacy. And what officers said on scene was deleted in those dispatch audio too. According to the police report, Kim Foxx admitted to officers she did put her hands on Kelly, but it was only to help guide him out of the house, adding she never slapped him. In the 911 call, you hear a woman in the background. It's believed to be Kim Foxx asking her husband to leave. Listen again.
Don't touch me.
The state's attorney and her husband have asked for privacy in this personal matter, but she did tell officers in the report she felt Kelly called police only to hurt her. Now, we did review the police records over the past 4 years and determined that this was the first time that Flossmoor police were called to the Foxx's house for domestic violence. Police said they did not have enough evidence to arrest anyone that night. Live in the control room tonight, Jermont Terry, CBS 2 News. Joe and Erica.
Jermont, thank you.
Well, let me say this about that.
Oh, hey. Buying a car from Groom is so easy.
So, if we listen, let's listen to the 911 call.
Straight Talk Wireless now has the new iPhone 13 with features like cinematic mode, so you can share the most unbelievable moments. Get our
Hey, mute this because they got music playing. I don't want a copyright strike.
911, what is the city of your emergency?
Sophomore.
What's the address of Sophomore?
935 Argyle Avenue.
935 Argyle. Hello?
Yes.
Okay, 935 Argyle. I tried to verify. And what's going on there?
Domestic issue.
Okay, is it you or someone else?
My wife and I.
Okay. Is it physical or just verbal?
Physical.
Is anybody injured?
No, not yet.
Okay, any weapons?
No, not yet.
Don't touch me.
Not her.
Sir, are there any weapons in the house?
No.
Okay, anybody been drinking tonight?
No.
Okay, what's your wife's name and what's your name? Okay. I do have them coming, okay. Are you guys outside, inside?
Say again?
Are you guys outside or inside?
We're outside. There's a car pulling in.
You said you see the police?
I do.
Okay, I'll let you go speak with them.
Thanks.
Stop. So that was Kim Foxx. All right, Lord. So this started supposedly over a Facebook post. She didn't want him to post on something, and he did it. She allegedly slapped him. The cop got there. He saw, obviously, from the police report that there were no bruises or anything on Mr. Fox's face. However, I can tell you guys as an attorney, they don't even need to have that. If the person alleges that this person struck me and the cop believes that if they arrive, that's probable cause, they could have made an arrest if they wanted to. But of course, that was on the cop's discretion. Unsung thing. Well, I'm sorry, I'm yawning in front of y'all. Said she was on her Judge Dredd. I am the law. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I think that this was a classic case of your female going out here and looking to try to dominate her husband. And as he went out here and stood up for himself, what your Kim Fox did was she got in her feelings, wanted to go out here and attack this man because he had the audacity to stand up and be a man and assert his opinion as related to something on Facebook. Now, any woman of character would have just said, "Okay, he's going to have his opinion, and if I disagree with that opinion, I just have to deal with the fact that he has a difference of opinion." But because she wanted to be Ms. Attitude, she was upset. She thought, "Oh, I'm going to go out here and slap this guy." And what he did was he went out here and called the police to defend himself because had he retaliated by putting hands on this female, it would have been a different story. What would have happened was your Kim Fox would have went out here putting on the waterworks, trying to play the victim, making herself out to be the one being victimized by someone. But what she's doing is she started the whole incident by by going out here and attacking him for posting something on Facebook. This is the type of petty stuff that women do in our gynocentric society. And what happens is in our gynocentric society, we try to give women passes for this kind of bad behavior. Like they gave Kim Fox, they basically gave her a slap. They didn't even give her a slap on the wrist. I mean, this is the type of stuff that women do and they get away with, and it leads to them escalating their behavior to participate in more violence. Now, this is something I talk about in depth in a chapter in my upcoming book, The Woman Crisis, about how women start stuff like this. And I have to say, Kim Fox's husband handled it very well in not putting his hands on her and calling the police so that there would be an official record of this behavior, because this is how you deal with this type of female, because what she wants to do is trying to test the boundaries. And if you allow her to get a pass like this, what she'll do is continue to think it's okay to disrespect you. And this guy said, "No, you're not going to disrespect me, and you're not going to tell me what to do. You're not going to dominate me and control me. I'm the head of this household, and I will have my respect." And he took his respect in the best way possible in this situation.
Now you look at this picture. Now you see her in this video. Doesn't she look like a black 80s actress?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one that got killed by Freddy Krueger in the Nightmare on Elm Street series by sucking
Yeah.
the head.
She's saying the police. She called the police to hurt her. No, he called the police to protect himself from her telling a lie on him. Because what females will do in these type of situations is they will start the fight. Then, as you react to them, they call the police, and then as they're calling the police, they make themselves out to be the victim. So what he was doing was not trying to hurt her. What he was doing was protecting himself, because a smart man understands that, look, if this female starts something and she gets on the phone with these police, the police are going to take her word over his. So he outplayed her as related to the game she was running. And he basically protected himself from really winding up in a bad situation where he would have possibly wound up locked up on something he never even did.
What's that? Oprah little old sister. Computer Robot said Harvey Superboy said that no matter what a black man does, he cannot win because of behaviors of people like this. I mean, the husband is a win-lose. It's a lose-lose situation for him, because if he had struck her, he would have been the one going to jail. Plus, this is the state attorney of the state of Illinois, so she has power. She has clout. On top of that, he's a man. He's a black man at that. Uh, I think the other side of it is he says she struck him. She told the police she struck him. The cop still didn't take his side. Somebody saying turn my volume up. My volume was up. You can hear me fine, right, Sean?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can everybody else hear me? I don't hear anybody complaining about it. I don't know if it's, YouTube has had this thing. There's various people who've said this way. They have volume problems. Have you seen that going around?
Yeah, I've heard about that. Mr. Superboy talked about the audio issues. YouTube likes to play games with channels that they don't like. So what they do is they mess with your audio. They mess with the way it's transmitting. They mess with your streams.
They mess with the algorithm as well.
Yeah.
Make sure that your stream doesn't actually pick up 100 or 1,000 people watching it, and that's the unfortunate thing here. So far I got 35 people. Earlier I saw over 40. I'm sure I probably had more than that. I know there's some people also on the Facebook page. I want to get to them and see what they have to say, because some of them have comments. Right now the game is going on. I think it's 56-39 Golden State as we speak. I think it's 56-39 Golden State as we speak. Okay, so nobody is on the chat on Facebook. So
All right,
yeah,
I'll be back in a second. I'll be back in a second.
yeah, somewhere. Okay, Sean is coming back in a little bit, guys. In the meantime, so do we have any questions, comments? Hit that like button, family. I need you all to smash up the likes, please. Hit the subscribe button. Also, the notification bell so when we go live, because I know some of you are not getting your notifications, that you would hit that button. So when we go live, you know when we're live in the chat. Guys, come on. So in the meantime, I do have something I wanted to talk about. Have y'all seen this Amber Heard interview? She has literally been embarrassing herself. I don't know what the sound issue was earlier. I know a lot of people had it, but it might
Right, I have returned.
Yes, you have returned. We can see that, Sean.
Yeah, well, just want everybody to know.
Yeah, it's all good. I wanted to talk about this. Did y'all see this interview that Amber Heard did on the Today Show? She actually believed her. I mean, it was bad. I wanted to talk about this quick, but let's play a little bit of it. I'm gonna try and make sure we don't get a copyright strike because they're famous for that. But this was on NBC.
It's the verdict. As you sit here with me now, has it sunk in? How could it? Surreal and difficult. In part, yes. This has been a long time coming. Do you stand by your testimony and your accusations against Johnny Depp about abuse? Of course. To my dying day, will stand by every word of my testimony.
Oh, that nose is
The
big.
real-life drama of the defamation case between Amber Heard and her ex-husband, Johnny Depp, captivated millions of people around the world.
Johnny Depp looking like an art teacher in college.
This is so cringe.
With clips spreading across social media like wildfire. I think vast majority of this trial was played out on social media. I think that this trial is an example of that gone haywire, gone amok, and the jury is not immune to that.
You think the jury saw it?
How could they not? I think even the most well-intentioned juror, it would have been impossible to avoid this.
Okay, I gotta analyze just that comment alone. Now, notice what she said. It would have been any well-intentioned juror could have seen this basic and said that the trial was being played out in social media, right? That's essentially what she said.
Yeah.
So she says this, but we had an individual, an elder, who was not given due process in his trial and was convicted before he actually had his day in court. Bill Cosby didn't get the justification, he didn't get the benefit of the doubt. Never had been. And you have Amber Heard complaining about how the case was tried in the court of public opinion and on social media. But let's not forget we had the memes where they were calling him Bill Cosby. You had people saying all types of stuff about him. And this, the great thing I can say, just getting back to Amber Heard now, is that when we see stuff like this, this actually is a death blow to the Me Too movement. This might be the final nail in the coffin. Don't you think?
I believe it's the final nail in the coffin for the Me Too movement because the Me Too movement has no credibility at this point because we see with the case of Amber Heard that all they have is allegations and they try cases in the court of public opinion and they don't really present any facts. Everything is about their feelings. Everything is about making women into victims when they aren't victims. And that's what we see with the Me Too movement and the women like Amber Heard. I mean, she went out here, made allegations against Johnny Depp, got his career derailed, all based on her feelings. And when he took it to court and processed it under due process, under the law, we learned the truth about your Amber Heard and that she was the abuser and she was the attacker in this case. And it's interesting that, again, Johnny Depp, he was able to get a day in court, unlike Bill Cosby, who was just basically railroaded through the criminal justice system and never got to really prove his case until he got into the Pennsylvania Supreme Court. I mean, basically, they were trying his case in the court of public opinion, and they were trying to destroy his reputation in the same way. And this whole case shows us how these white feminists have a completely different view between black and white. And at the end of the day, they want to go out here and they want to demonize a black man and put him in prison, but they want to go after a white man's riches and try to destroy by destroying his reputation. Again, these women are just reprehensible human beings like an Amber Heard and many of the other women in the Me Too movement. And they are not women who I would even want to consort with or even want to deal with.
No. Even if it was between her and humanity dying, I guess humanity had its chance.
Yeah. But scary part is there's millions of them out there like that who believe that they deserve a deal and deserve stuff, and they believe they're entitled to things. So this is what we got after 60 years of feminism. This is the gynocentric Godzilla, the monster that was created.
Holding signs saying burn the witch,
Oh, Poopa Doo.
death to Amber. After
She
3.5
said
weeks,
he's
I
got
took the
scissors for
stand
hands,
and
but she's
saw
got
just a
ass
courtroom
made for shit.
packed
And a
full
bed apparently to
of
drop
Captain
on
Jack
it.
Sparrow fans
To drop it on.
who were vocal, energized. Can you put into words how that felt? This was the most humiliating and horrible thing I've ever been through. I have never felt
Really,
more
Amber, you should see you
removed from my
acting
own
and drive
humanity.
crazy.
I
Drive angry.
I felt less than human.
That was
Let's go
hard for me to
back
sit
the
through.
day of the verdict. Were you feeling confident? That's a great question. I wish I could say yes to that. I want to say yes to you, but it wouldn't be true. Even if you think that I'm lying, you still
Nothing
couldn't
you
tell
say
me,
is true.
look me in the eye and tell me that you think on social media there's been a fair representation.
Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Answer, yes.
After the 6-week trial, the jury found Heard defamed Depp in a 2018 Washington Post op-ed in which she wrote she was a public figure representing domestic abuse. She never mentioned her ex-husband by name. Depp denied the abuse allegations in court. Heard won just one of 3 claims in her countersuit against her ex-husband. That verdict came less than 2 years after a judge ruled against Depp in a similar case in the UK, in which he sued a British newspaper that called him a wife beater.
All right, I'm done with this, but y'all see the point of all of this thing. This woman, this is the definition of a toxic female.
Yep.
She actually she took a shit in her husband's bed, although she denied it. But why would she even but she admitted taking her picture and sending it to him. Why would she do that? If you didn't do it, why would you send that? What's the purpose of that? The bed you share with your husband, you had shit in it. That's not something to gloat over. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, guys. We got one more topic I want to talk about. I saw this earlier today. This is not old. This is not new news. This is old. Those who know this actress, this is Garcelle Beauvais, Fancy from the Jamie Foxx show. And she was on Andy Cohen's podcast where she decided, I mentioned Bill Cosby, she decided to talk about interaction that she had with the 84-year-old comedian. And they say he was previously convicted on sexual assault charges before the decision was overturned. Well, the charges should have never been brought in the first place, and the conviction not only was overturned, the whole decision, the trial from the beginning was ruled absolutely null ab initio, as we would say, null ab initio. And she talked about how during the conversation, Garcelle talked about how she visited Bill Cosby at his brownstone out, I believe, in New York, and supposedly Bill wanted her number. I get there, and he asked me if I wanted to have a drink, and I was a baby. So she says, I was a baby.
Was there anyone that you were nervous about
Now, I don't own the rights to this. I said this is Andy Cohen. I don't believe, and I apologize. It may not be him. But this is what she said here. This is a pretty big clip.
about in the book?
Oh, absolutely. I was nervous about writing about Bill Cosby. I was nervous.
You were nervous, but what? Why? Because you had interactions.
We opened a can of worms. You know what I mean? I felt like when all of that was being revealed about how he treated women, I didn't have anything concrete to add to the story, and I didn't feel like I should have done that. People would have thought maybe I was just jumping on the bandwagon to jump on the bandwagon, and I didn't want to do that. And also my boys were little, and I didn't want to subject them to that kind of, stuff. So I was nervous, but it was my story to tell.
Yes. And you met Cosby how?
I was modeling in New York, and I got a call from my agency saying Bill Cosby wanted your number. And at the time, he was everybody's dad.
Yes.
He was bigger than life.
And so you say sure.
I say sure.
And what happens?
Like 20 minutes later.
Okay.
And said, I've seen you around, and I think you would be great for the show. I'm going to offer you a small part, but I also think education is really important, which is really weird that someone I didn't know thought that I needed more education. So I went and I worked on the show, and I had a small part, and it turned out to be a cautionary tale about really listening to your gut instincts. Because when I went to his brownstone,
under the pretense of what?
First of all, I felt like we weren't alone. But I never saw anybody else.
But why did you go to his? Why were you invited?
Well, because he was like, I want to talk to you about your career. I want to talk to you about,
right. I want to help you.
Your education. We'll go over a scene together. The whole.
Nobody knew who the hell you were. What?
She was a struggling actress back then.
What? Let me finish playing it.
Whole setup that he has.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you go to his brownstone, and what happens?
I get there, and he asked me if I want to have a drink, and I was a baby. I was like, sure.
Okay, I gotta stop it right there. Hold on. You see the word she used? I was a baby. I was a baby. No, you were an adult. You were a groupie. You went there, the man talked to you, he invited you to your house. If this happened, you went there, and the most she says, excuse me, guys, for a second, I gotta take care of my nose. Hold on, I'm sorry. She went to his brownstone. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna finish the clip because I want you to hear the rest of it. But listen carefully.
I remember that very well because I didn't drink it. I had never heard of Sambuca. And I remember taking a sip and not feeling great. And I don't know, I just didn't feel right. And something told me to get out of there. And I literally got up and I ran out of there. And I got into a cab and I went to my apartment. And I was freaked out. I remember calling my mom. And what was interesting is the next week he had a big I love my wife party, which I had never heard anybody have a party that was themed that way. So it was really interesting. And I never heard from him again.
When you say you didn't feel right after the sip, do you think, I mean, based on what we know, theoretically, there was probably something else in that Sambuca, right?
No, motherfucker.
I absolutely think there was.
No, motherfucker. We ain't gonna do that. No. Oh, based off what we no. You don't know shit. She had Sambuca. That's an alcoholic beverage. Garcelle Beauvais in the 1980s was in her 20s. Alcohol is strong, if you ever had it. A Sambuca, if you ever drank it, is strong, right?
Yep.
It's a strong drink. That's not illegal. These coons are laughable. and I hear this crap like this. And that host, whoever he was trying to say, based off what we know, you don't know nothing. That moist motherfucker, whoever it was. I have to go hard with stuff like this. I get upset because you trying to, and she said, I don't want to jump on the bandwagon. I didn't want to really bring this up. And then, if nothing happened to you, what are you talking about then? You didn't go to the hospital. You weren't hospitalized. He didn't drug you. He didn't touch you inappropriately. He didn't assault you. So what are we talking about? Am I right? What are we talking about?
I mean, if something happened, why didn't she go to police?
Trying to sell a fucking book.
That's all she was trying to do. Another case of revisionist history.
I'm sorry. I'm upset. Yeah, it was Andy Cohen. I'm looking at it. Yeah, it was because it was posted. Andy Cohen, Bill Cosby, Garcelle Beauvais. So yeah, it was Andy Cohen live. Yeah, it was him. I'm sorry. So yeah, I was right. Bullshit. If you felt sick, if you were hurt, ma'am, you should have come forward. I'm getting this, everything with Bill Cosby, everything that they're doing, she said, and she basically told on herself, she's like, I didn't want anybody to say I put this out here and I was a dog piling, but that's what you did. That's what you did. He gave you an alcoholic drink. You said you sipped it and didn't like it. Some people can't handle, can you handle alcohol, Garcelle? Do you drink regularly? Some people are teetlers, where they don't drink alcohol at all. They can't handle it. Go ahead and talk, Sean.
Well, when I look at your Garcelle Beauvais and this allegation, it just shows me how pathetic she is. Here we have another washed-up actress who is basically a G-string on the spin cycle, still trying to get the last couple of seconds of fame out of her dying career. Now that she's out here and her career is fading, she wants to take a shot at Bill Cosby in the hopes that these people in the mainstream media will give her another chance, but her whole story is just complete BS when you really look at it. I mean, if your Bill Cosby had given her a drink and it was strong, it didn't really mean that anything happened. I mean, if you're taking a strong drink and it's just too much for you, then maybe you just can't handle alcohol. I mean, if Bill Cosby would she's trying to make allegations against Bill Cosby to get attention for herself, but I look at her as just another one of these females, again, a part of that Me Too movement, looking for a last bit of fame and try to get a little bit of change by selling a book that nobody will read, because we've heard these stories a million times in the entertainment industry. Oh, I went to this person's house. Oh, I took this drink or whatever, or something happened between me and the celebrity. But it's all BS at the end of the day, because if you're alleging criminal behavior, if you thought something was going on, you would have gone to the police and filed a police report, and you would have gone out here and taken criminal action back then. But you didn't want to take any criminal action because all you wanted to do was try to sleep your way to the top, or you're trying to get a deal from the back door. I mean, I've heard about many of these casting couch stories, and your Garcelle Beauvais, she's basically one of these bimbos who's been ran through by the white boys, washed up now, and now understands that she's on her way to bust downtown, and now she's trying to get a few little bits of change before she has to go back on that bus, cross town, and head over to bust downtown, where she will reside for the rest of her life.
Yeah, she has children, Darian. She's not married. She's divorced twice.
She's divorced twice. White boys turned her out.
Right. She's the cheap version of Halle Berry.
She's the Wish version of Halle Berry.
The cheap version, the Dollar General version. I'm embarrassed. I'm disgusted by this. You had a sip of Sambuca, and you said you didn't feel. That don't mean you're trying to imply like he put something in it. You said, "Oh, and I was a baby," and a bit. I'm sorry.
She ain't no baby. She's a grown woman.
You're a grown woman. Garcelle, and this was during the height of the Cosby Show. Garcelle was born in 1960. What year was she born? Garcelle was born in the 60s. I know that much. She was born in 1966. So she would have been, at the time of the Cosby Show, either 18, between the Cosby Show was in 84. So from 1984 to 1992, if she was 17, she was 18 in November. So when the Cosby Show debuted, she was about 17 and a half. Either way, she was in her 20s at best when the show happened. She was an adult. You might have been young, but you're still an adult legally. You went to his house, to his brownstone. You even said you weren't alone, right? She said we weren't alone, but he gave me a drink and I took a sip and, I started to didn't feel well and I just ran out of there. Which doesn't even make any sense at all. You took a sip of Sambuca. This makes no sense. I'm sick of these people just trying to attack and dog this man. You just throwing stuff at somebody with no evidence, nothing. You expect everybody to believe it or want people to get sympathy for you. This is not the way the law works.
They're trying to make the law run on feelings, but it runs on facts.
It runs on facts, exactly. I'm through with it. But I wanted to talk, but I was upset just watching and seeing that, because I just happened to scroll through. On top of that, they rested in the civil trial, which is another reason why she's talking about it on Andy Cohen. Yeah, The Real was canceled. Nobody watched that show. The only thing she can do is anything if stay on Jamie Foxx's good side, because apparently that's the only time she can get a role. She was on that show Franklin and Bash a few years ago. That didn't last long. She did the Spider-Man movie. She was Michael Keaton's wife. But we know she's not going to be featured in too many of those movies. So she claims she met Cosby, and if she wasn't alone and so forth. So here's my question. Where was Camille? If you were at the brownstone, you said, well, we weren't alone. Who was there? Who was there with you? You said we weren't alone. Who else was there? Notice they don't mention that?
Nope.
Because I know good and damn well he wouldn't have tried nothing with Camille there.
Nope.
Mrs. Kyle? Oh, hell no. That happened with Beverly Johnson. Her manager even said, and we talk about this in the book, she had brunch with Mrs. Cosby and Bill Cosby. So if something happened, they would have brought this up. He wouldn't have done nothing with his wife around. If he did, come on. And a civil trial is coming up and it's ended. They rested their arguments earlier this week. So now the jurors are deliberating. They've actually had the jurors ask some questions. According to Variety, I just want to show this to you all. They asked several questions for the judge. One of the questions they asked was definitions of a few terms on the verdict forms. In one asked is what it meant to decide that Cosby had quote, an unnatural or abnormal sexual interest in a child. One of the elements Hutt's lawyers must prove in order to prevail. Judge Craig Carlin responded that state law holds that any sexual interest in a child is unnatural. Agree with that. Cosby's lawyer, Jennifer Bongine, raised a strenuous objection to that answer and suggested it could become an issue in the event of an appeal because he's defining, he says, any sexual interest in a child. And instead of what the law says, unnatural or abnormal sexual interest. So if you say any, potentially what she's saying is, and why she's objecting is because you don't want to, it's going to sway the jury to think something that is not the actual definition in the law. That's what her opinion is on it. But they were confident. The defense is confident in their case because the burden is on the plaintiff to prove this. And this is Gloria Allred's case. I hope she loses. Cosby has not been in attendance, and he exercised his Fifth Amendment right not to testify in his own defense. The jurors were shown brief clips of his video deposition in which he said he would not pursue minors for sex. Closing arguments were made on Wednesday. I'm hoping and praying that it goes through good for him. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I think that this whole trial is basically a farce. I mean, the woman's allegations are not consistent, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to make Bill Cosby look like a sexual predator in civil court, so they can get a symbolic victory over him now that they've failed to convict him in criminal court. And what they're doing here is trying to say, oh, trying to make this broad generalization about sexual predation. I mean, what they're trying to do is try to make Bill Cosby look like he's some sort of, pedophile. But your Bill Cosby was never a pedophile. And the whole thing is that the Playboy records would show that only people over 18 were allowed on the mansion and on the mansion grounds. So this whole argument that they're making is just it's a Hail Mary in order to try to get some sort of win, but it just shows how weak their case is. I mean, when I look at their case, you're saying that Bill Cosby did something on the Playboy mansion, but then you have multiple sources like people at Playboy saying, hey, this never happened. We have records that show this person wasn't here. The evidence just isn't there. And this woman is trying to revise her story, to revise history, to make herself out not to be somebody who was just turned out on the casting couch, but she wants to go out here and demonize Bill Cosby, make him the bad guy, hoping to get a payday in her old age. So this woman is running a game. And the whole thing is that when you look at the evidence and the preponderance of the evidence, there's no case here as related to Bill Cosby. And it's another desperate attempt to try to malign his reputation and tarnish his image. And I believe he has a good case for slander and libel once this case is over. And I believe he is going to win because the evidence just isn't there as related to this claim.
Yeah, look at this stink heifer. This is she's a disgrace as a little attorney.
Yeah, she's just a greedy gold digger.
Of course she is. Vampire. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this thing up, man. But I'm praying for you, Dr. Cosby. I think you're gonna pull through in this one.
He's got this one. The case is there.
If the jury comes back with a liable verdict, it's because they're prejudiced.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, as I stated before, the book is available now, The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. You want to read the truth, read this book on Dr. Cosby, available on Kindle right now as we speak. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby Jr., The Destruction of Due Process in the United States. Authored by yours truly, edited by myself and Mr. Sean James. And shout out to Bill Walco for the book covers, the illustrator on that. Sean, you read this book, you enjoyed it.
Yes, it's very well done, well put together book.
Very much so. My girlfriend was reading it. Tanisha was reading it, and she said it was good reading. Do you remember anything in particular about it? Your best part of it, or?
Well, I really liked the part where you were talking about Bill Cosby buying NBC and laying that out as one of the reasons why people had a grudge. I also liked the way you broke down the all of the evidence as related to Andrea Constand's allegations being a lie, and I also really like how you presented all of the evidence that showed how Bill Cosby could not have possibly committed this crime.
Right. And one of the things, well, what I tried to do was break down the legal from the legal terms, terminology into common sense because I know some people who are not attorney. Most people are not trained as lawyers. Obviously,
Yeah.
most people don't understand the procedural process that goes on in a courtroom, especially in a criminal proceeding, and why this is excluded, that is included, why this shouldn't be allowed, why is this allowed, why does this happen, and that's because we try and the courts try to preserve, which is the supposed to by the Constitution, fairness and equity within the criminal justice system. When there is a trial that takes place, it is the job of the judge to act as the referee uh, and make sure that the defendant gets a fair and impartial trial. And Bill Cosby didn't get that. And the media, of course, run with the stories, but they don't do the research and put the wherewithal in. They don't. They leave out key information, but put this other information. Let you use your imagination with stuff like this. So that's why I broke it down like that. And I'm glad you enjoyed it, and I hope everybody else will purchase it. Shout out to all in the chat. If you all want to support me, also please donate to the Cash App, the PayPal, and Zelle at the bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Sean, you want to do a final plug-in?
Okay, I want to tell everybody about my upcoming comic that will be coming to Kickstarter next week, John Haynes at Death's Door. You can sign up for the mailing list for the comic that's going to be launching on June 22nd, so you can be notified when that comic is coming out. I'm going to leave a link to the John Haynes at Death's Door Kickstarter in the chat, and I'm hoping that you'll sign up for the mailing list. And I also hope you'll pick up the SJS Direct 2022 books, ISIS Legacy, and E-Steam Horror of the Hyena Woman, which are now available on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format.
Tyree X is only on Kindle as of now. It is. I take it Tyree doesn't like to use Kindle. We do have it. I'm trying to get it available for paperback. Actually, it's not going to take me much to do, but I'll have it on paperback soon, so everybody could purchase it there. Just click on it. So, at any rate, Sean, I thank you for joining in, brother. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on.
All right. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you love this channel, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. If you like to advertise, go to the email, gavin@grich1@gmail.com. Go to our Patreon if you'd like to support us as well. I will be on live Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. with my man Ron Hurd from We All Be News and Reva. I will be talking about the book, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus William H. Cosby. And I want you all to tune in. Sean, tune in if you can find time in your busy schedule.
All right, I'll see if I can.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to mention the Commonwealth of Bill Cosby on the live stream tomorrow. And because I got a lot of other guys I want to talk about. There's a lot of black businesses doing some great stuff. And I want to talk about your book and a brother who's got a film. So I will be talking about the book.
Okay. All right. Well, yes, indeedy, feed the needy. But let us know when. I know Woman Crisis will be available this fall.
Yeah. That's a fall 2022 SJS Direct book.
Finished the first draft of it?
I finished the first draft and I'm doing the second. I'm doing edits on this as related to the second draft as we speak. So I finished the first draft. Now I'm on to the second draft and I'm really cleaning up stuff, getting a lot of redundant paragraphs out, getting a lot of the grammar and spelling correct, and doing some page layouts as well.
All right. Sure thing, Computer Robots. When they give me the link, I'll send it to you. No problem. All right, buddies. Ladies and gentlemen, also, of course, if you want some Naughty's Creole blends, Go ahead and do that. Try it on chicken, meat, or fish. Mayonnaise goes great with every dish, ladies and gentlemen. You can click on that right here. And I thank you all for tuning in. Of course, you can check out our music such as Video Soul and Gotta Get On Up that's available now. And you guys all have a good night. I appreciate everybody and the support that you've been showing.
My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal. Cold-blooded.
There it is again.
Crime
Literally the
Where are my lists? Bring me the names. It's time.
Yeah, the names that they can use now for all the transitioning firstborns. All the firstborn of Gotham. They're going to be boys. Never born boys. Never little girls. Here's their names. Yeah. Madam Cobblepot. Madam Secretary Cobblepot. All right, y'all. Let's go get out of here, okay? See y'all in the next one, all right? All right.
Girl, come on. Gotta dance to the beat. Because on the dance floor is where we show me what you got. Gotta feel the groove.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up.
Right now the party's wasted. There's nothing much to do. But once the groove gets started, tell me, what do you have to lose? Just look into my eyes, girl, as we glide across the room. And what to my surprise now, the beat takes hold of you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause the beat is really grooving. It's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Tell the DJ play the whispers. Rock steady in the mood. Put on earth, wind, and fire. Tonight we're gonna groove. Show me how you do the four corners. Electric slide or two. Hit the bus stop or do the bunny hop, baby. It's really up to you. Now if you're feeling like I'm feeling, so come on baby, let's start dealing. Time to get this party started. Ain't no time for the broken hearted. When the rhythm takes hold of you, there's only one thing left to do. Cause the beat is really grooving. Time to get your body moving. Gotta get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up. Now 2020 hasn't been the best year of all times. We've been dealing with death, a pandemic, racism, bad policing, and all the bad rhymes. But like Uncle Snoop once said, if you breathe and you're achieving. So if you're ready, I need you all to get on up. Are you ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get your butt on the dance floor. 5 and 6 and 7, 8. This jam we appreciate. We're gonna slide and step on the beat. On the dance floor is where we'll be. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on up and move your body. Cause when the beat is really grooving, it's time to feel your body moving. Gotta get on up and shake something.
Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor, baby. Yeah, gotta get on the floor, baby. Come on, baby, gotta get on the floor, baby. Feel the groove, get on the floor. Get on the floor. My name is not Oswald. It's Penguin. I am not a human being. I am an animal. Cold-blooded. Crank the AC.